would really like to extend a very, very warm welcome to Zaffar Abbas. I have had the privilege of having befriended him over many years. I've seen him through many things, and I'm also, and it is not just to please him, I'm also a big admirer of Dawn as a newspaper. I mean, to actually establish independent journalism in a country like Pakistan, whose most most prominent feature is not democracy, right? So for there to run an independent newspaper, and I know for a fact that how much pressure the Pakistani military exerts on him, on his paper, and of course there are the other vested interests. So it's really fantastic. And of course, we know that Dawn was founded with the founding of Pakistan by the father of Pakistan, Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. That's how I think it started off in Bombay first, no? In Delhi. So it was started off in Delhi, and then of course shifted to Karachi, and have been really a beacon of light ever since. And Zaffar, I would like to really welcome you to Bangladesh. I think after a long time. Please.
Mahmoud Bhai has already done my job introducing Zaffar Abbas. I believe he is the newspaper's Dawn's longest serving editor. So you are the number 11 probably, and you were there since 2010, 16 years?
That's correct, 16 years, but I am not the longest serving editor. There have been many others.
In Dawn?
Not in Dawn, yes. Ahmad Ali Khan, Altaf Hussain.
Oh, I see.
Altaf Hussain
Okay.
was the first editor. He was probably for 20 years. And Ahmad Ali Khan was a little over 30 years. So there have been editors who have been there for a very long time.
So it's in 85 years, you are 16 years. Your editorship is there for 16 years, right?
Well, they have not thrown me out so far.
But even before, you also was in charge of Islamabad edition for a few years, right?
That's correct. That's correct. You see, I started from the Dawn Group back in 1981.
So even before joining BBC?
Even before joining BBC, I started in 1981 as one of the junior reporters in a sister publication called The Star, and worked through it, then worked for the Herald magazine, which was also part of the Dawn Group. And then BBC offered me a job. I moved to Islamabad, worked over there for nearly 16 years. Then one day, the CEO of Dawn called me, Mr. Hamid Haroon, and he said, listen, you had promised that when you were joining the BBC, that whenever I give you a call,
you'll come back.
You'll leave everything and come back. So this is the time. And to be very honest, I had already done my television and radio and other things. And I thought, why not return to print journalism and see whether there is any hope left over there or not. So I immediately left the BBC and returned to Dawn newspaper.
Looking back on your BBC years, what stands out most vividly for you?
Frankly speaking, I had never thought that this is going to be a very formal session. I had just come here to meet Mahfouz Anam, and then I suddenly saw my signboard and everything. So I have absolutely no idea
But if you
what we are
can
talking
remember
about.
any major event.
There have been several major events that I had covered both in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. Pakistan, journalism-wise, is a very happening place. There have been military takeovers, military coups, return to democracy, hope for democracy, then fall of one government, fall of another government, then again military intervening, and even when they are not there, they're still there. So a lot of things used to happen. For instance, when I was working for the BBC, Delhi was the main South Asia bureau, and the reporters over there had nothing to file, and so everyone wanted to come to Islamabad because to cover eventful things happening over there. Afghanistan was close by, so Afghanistan was largely the responsibility of the Islamabad bureau. We used to go inside, going to Kandahar, going to Kabul, going to Mazar-e-Sharif, Iraq, and coming back and reporting from there. So a lot of activities. I learned so much during my days in the BBC that what a field reporter needs to do, what kind of things he or she needs to take care of, and that experience I still cherish.
And it was Pakistan was one of the ally in that war on terror, US's major ally. So I think there's lots of issues, especially sensitivities on the part of the security establishment and reporting freely. Did you feel that?
When I was working for the BBC and reporting Afghanistan, no, I never felt that kind of thing. The reason being that Afghanistan may have been a sensitive issue for many other people at that time, but for us it was largely the Soviets. When the Soviets were there, so it was a different story. Mujahideen were fighting from the Pakistani side, going inside Afghanistan and reporting on those matters. The real story started after the withdrawal of the Soviet troops over there, and a civil war broke out in there. So Afghanistan, even for the BBC, was divided into two halves. One area where our correspondent in Kabul was able to access those areas that were being controlled by the regime in Kabul. And then there were areas like Kandahar, Jalalabad, and so many other places where the rival forces were there. So we used to deploy ourselves in those areas, and we used to report from those areas because our correspondent in Kabul was unable to access those areas. So it was quite an interesting thing. It was a collaborative effort over there, that how to report on Afghanistan. What should we call them? Should we call them rebels or freedom fighters? Should we regard the regime in Kabul as the legitimate regime, or should we think that those fighting against that regime are the legitimate warriors over there? So, and things evolved. Things evolved over a period of time. How to explain the situation in Afghanistan? Many Western journalists are still struggling to understand Afghanistan. But because we were in the local area, we knew the people over there, so it was relatively speaking easier for us. But it is a challenging assignment. For instance, just to give you an example, during what you call the war on terror, when it was happening, Tira Valley, which is a border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, some of the highest peaks over there. And the rumors were that Osama bin Laden may have crossed into Pakistan from the Tira Valley area. So this was the area which is a tribal area of Pashtuns over there, and even the Pakistani troops had never accessed that area, even though technically it is part of Pakistan. So that was for the first time Pakistani troops had gone in there. So BBC was quite interested in doing a story from the Tira Valley. Because the expats, the foreign correspondents, were not being allowed, so I was chosen to go into that area. So at one point it was so difficult to access that area that the army provided us the helicopter. So when we landed in one of the areas, one of the army officers said, "You better be careful, because the place where we have landed is a hashish field, and so you don't destroy this field, because the local tribesmen will really be against you and a lot of things." So these are the kind of experiences we continue to have in those areas. For instance, once reporting from Kabul, I was sitting in the BBC office over there, and I asked my local colleague over there, Phil Goodwin was the correspondent. So I asked him, "What about, can I use your desk and report from there?" He said, "Feel free to use it. And the only thing is, last week a missile hit that chair."
Okay, I see. Yeah.
So now we speak in lighter tones about all these anecdotes, but these things used to happen a lot in those days.
We were talking about using military helicopter for reporting purposes. And these kind of help from the security forces are being seen as embedded journalism. Do you have any comment on that?
You see, embedded journalism is something very different from
What
asking the
you
military,
had, yeah.
what we had. In embedded journalism, which has happened in Pakistan also in some of the war zones, largely in Iraq, that we had seen with
Later, yeah, in later years.
Later on, in Afghanistan as well. In embedded journalism, you have to enter into an agreement with the military with which you are being embedded. You have to get your stories cleared from them. You have to follow their rules. You have at times you have to wear the uniform just because you're embedded with them. No such thing was happening. These were casual things where no rules were set. It was just asking for help from going from one place to the other. It was not being embedded with the military because the war was not going on in that area. At time war was on the other side of the border in Afghanistan. So no, I never got myself embedded, although there have been suggestions that why not go to Waziristan in the tribal region and cover embedding with the journalists. Somehow I never felt like it. Maybe tomorrow there is a need and I do that. But no, I have not done embedded journalism. Others have done it, and their experience has not been very good.
During your work with the BBC, you haven't faced any kind of pressure or intimidation from the authorities or security agencies, if I understood you correctly.
You see, you have to remember those days where BBC was the voice of the people at that time. Everyone used to tune into BBC, whether it was the Bangla service or Urdu service or Hindi service or
even English.
And even English.
Globally English service.
They used to wait for it. So it was very difficult for the authorities to really come after us at that time. It was all they could do is to engage with us, try to please us, try to offer help of whatever kind. They may have not liked many of our stories, but no, I would not say that I was pressurized or intimidated anytime. They may not have liked me, but certainly not at that time. Other than that, the religious militant groups really used to keep a very sharp focus. Even the ethnic militant groups used to keep a very sharp focus on the BBC, its broadcast, because it was the only thing that used to be considered as free journalism at that point.
Was there any threat on the part of those groups?
Well, twice I was attacked. My house was burned down. And even the BBC office in Islamabad was attacked by one of the religious militant groups, and it was burned down. That was in 1995. The attack on my apartment was in 1992 in Karachi. So there have been a lot of incidents, very life-threatening incidents, very scary moments for the family. But we have sailed through those.
Okay, great. Now, coming back to Dawn. Dawn is widely regarded as the most credible English language newspaper in Pakistan and beyond. How this journey you can explain? Because the newspaper originally came about as a Muslim League's mouthpiece. It was founded by Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
You see, I cannot speak for the Dawn management, but whatever little I know about Dawn's background as it started, it was probably a need was felt by the Muslims of UP and other parts of India that there should be a newspaper which represents the Muslim minority over there at the time of the struggle, at the time of formation of or achieving independence. And that is where probably the suggestion was given to Mr. Jinnah and Liaquat Ali Khan funded it, and so it came out. So it was, you are absolutely right, it was the mouthpiece of the All India Muslim League. But once Pakistan was formed, and the Dawn office in Delhi was, during the riots, was burned down.
Oh, it was burned down in Delhi.
It was burned down in Delhi during the riots that were going on post-partition, post-independence. And by that time, the Karachi edition had already started. And it was again an achievement of Dawn newspaper that in those days, they made sure that on the day of independence, the newspaper comes out from Delhi as well as from Karachi.
Okay.
So it did come out, and a smaller team had moved to Karachi to bring out the newspaper.
So two different editions on that day?
Two different editions on that day, on 15th of August 1947. Two different editions on that day. And since then it was coming out. So in September, when it was burned down, at that time, Mr. Jinnah, in one of the Muslim League meetings, said that the whole idea of having a newspaper was to achieve independence and creation of Pakistan. That goal have been achieved. Now, if somebody wants to run this newspaper, they should do it. So the Harun family in Karachi, they decided to take over the newspaper. And from there on, Mr. Jinnah was not interested in imposing the Muslim League's policies on it, because they said, the whole idea was to achieve Pakistan, and that had been done. So the Harun family then decided to have their own policies, their own laws, their own rules to run that newspaper, and since then it has remained with the Harun family.
During Pakistan's more than since 47 actually, most of the time Pakistan was directly or indirectly under the influence of military, controlled in any way. How it affected free speech, freedom of the press as a whole, and in particular, Dawn's journalism.
Well, then, when there is a
it's a very broad question, but
when there is a military rule, why do you even talk about free speech? They don't go together. So there have been military rules in Pakistan. There have been complete censorship during military authorities. All the fundamental rights have been taken away. Even when it was an united country with Eastern Wing and Western Wing, there was military rule at that time as well. And before that also, and after the independence of Bangladesh and separation of the two wings, there were military interventions, there were military rules. So military has been there as part of the political system over there, whether they are directly involved or indirectly involved. And during this, the struggle for freedoms have also continued. And we have, for instance, achieved a lot of things, including the abrogation or abolishment of a press and publication order, a draconian law that was brought in by Field Marshal Ayub Khan in the 60s, and many other laws that had come up. But the struggle has continued. If you continue to struggle, if journalists unions do not give up the right to have free speech or right to have free expression, then everything starts to die down. And Dawn is not the only newspaper. There are many other media houses that have been part of this struggle, and they have achieved a lot. Then they have been taken, the freedoms have been taken away, then the struggle continues, and then they achieve something. So my belief, to be very honest, is that journalism, as it happens in many of the South Asian countries, is that you have to remain confident that your goal is to go for a free speech, inform the people, even if it has been taken away, briefly consider it as a brief pause in the whole thing. and then continue your speech, and you will achieve it. You will achieve it. You see, what better achievement can there be when you do a story, or you investigate a story, or write an editorial, or write an op-ed column where the authorities don't like it, but you are informing the people about what is wrong with the society, what is wrong with the government, what is wrong with the authorities over there. And that pleasure is what forms credible journalism in any society. And Dawn is not different from other newspapers or media houses.
You spoke about journalists' unity or unitedly sort of trying to fight for their rights. No partisan influence on that. Like, well, my party is in power, People's Party, or Muslim League is in power, so I'm not going to speak about government excesses or restrictive measures.
No, we are not superhuman beings. So we are part of the societies where splits and divisions constantly take place, and unions have split into more than 2 unions and 3 unions and 4 unions. Different regimes have tried to create divisions within the unions, within the journalist fraternity, and it has happened in Pakistan. It may have happened in Bangladesh,
Yes.
in India. So we still have 2 or 3 federal unions that are against each other. One is pro-government, the other is against the government. One is pro-religious parties, other is pro-liberal parties. So this is the part of one thing that we constantly tell through the newspaper, as well as whenever I meet my colleagues in the field of journalism, is that we should not miss the goal. The thing is, the governments keep talking about national interest through that don't do this thing because it is against the national interest. Don't write about these things, this is against the national interest. Promote this thing because it is in the national interest. And my explanation has always been that we work for public interest. If there is a clash between somebody's explanation of national interest and my understanding of public interest, I will go with public interest. And this is where I come to your original question, that the pressures that continue to be on Dawn over the last few decades have been largely because Dawn has evolved a policy where it will go for public interest writing, and will, if there is a clash between the government's version of national interest and our understanding of national interest, we will weigh it with the public interest and go for public interest.
Pakistan is largely known as a very conservative Islamic country, and pursuing a liberal policy there is really a challenge, big challenge. How do Dawn reconcile with your liberal policy?
You're absolutely right. Pakistan is a deeply religious society. When we talk about liberal values, we are not talking about anything against the religion. It is about explaining what a civil society should be all about. So when we talk about liberal values, I'm not challenging a religious narrative or any such thing. We believe in the fundamental rights. We believe in rights for women. We believe in liberal values. We believe in
rights for women or equal rights for women.
Well, when the equal rights will come, definitely it will be a huge success. For the moment, we are talking about rights for women, and the struggle continues. There's so many women organizations now over there, and Dawn has openly supported the idea of equal rights for women and affirmative action about women's rights and so many other things. And same is the thing with other fundamental rights. And I don't really believe that we are in conflict or in contradiction with any other political force. Our values are very clear. that if anything is against democratic values, we will oppose it. If whether it is a civilian government or a military government, if they go after rights activists, we will oppose it. If their rights are being taken away, we will write against that. And so far, we have achieved that thing. And it's thanks to the management of Dawn, which trust the editor and the editorial staff, that they have not stopped us from doing what we are doing.
How much editorial independence you enjoy against owners or publishers?
Dawn is, I won't say this is the only organization in the region, but it has a unique way of handling journalism in Pakistan, at least, if not in other countries. Many decades ago, the owners of Dawn decided that they will have nothing to do with the editorial policy of the newspaper, other than the broad parameters that the owners wanted. So whenever the time comes, they look for an editor, somebody who they can trust, somebody with a reputation of integrity or ethics and honesty. And once that editor is selected, they discuss the broad parameters that I had explained, the liberal values, the secular values, or the value about the fundamental rights and democracy and everything. And once the editor is appointed, from that day onwards, there is zero involvement of the management in the editorial matters. For instance, I've been as the editor, I've been with Dawn for the last 15, 16 years now. And on not a single day, the chairperson or the CEO of Dawn had ever even asked me what editorial we are going to write for the next day, or what will be the lead story, or what will be the second lead, or whether we are covering this incident or how we are covering this incident. On the following day, when it is published, we can have an argument, we can have a discussion, we can have our differences. At times they may be right, at times I can convince them that our take is correct, but not on that particular day. I mean, it's an amazing thing. It's difficult for people to believe that the management they do not even come on the editorial floor. Of course, at times they will come, whether to meet me or any other member of the team, or access the library or something else. But first, the CEO will call the editor's office just to inform the editor that she wants to come down to the editorial floor and to either to meet me or somebody else, or access the library. Otherwise, they will not. And no way they will try to find out what is being published in the paper.
Great to hear that. I was going through your code of media ethics, which you have published in your website. One of those ethics says, shall take care while reporting on militants, insurgents, extremists, of the need to balance public interest with the danger of advertising extremist ideologies. Could you please further explain these things? Because we know Pakistan is facing this extremism as a grave danger, and there's also room for misunderstanding the media's role. So how do you in practice apply these ethics?
You see, room for mistake or blunder will always be there. If you are doing journalism, you will always make mistakes. The important thing is to understand and acknowledge those mistakes, do the correction, carry out the correction, and move on. When we come to militancy, or the point that you raised from the code of ethics of Dawn, is what we have tried to tell our colleagues is continue to report on acts of violence and terrorism and militancy, but make sure we do not glorify terrorism or glorify militant groups.
Also, not to dehumanize the other parties or accused for extremism.
Absolutely. Not to glorify, not to dehumanize, and at the same time, make sure that even if pressures are coming from the government or the military or the militants, that you continue to try to your best of your ability to strike the right balance. For instance, there are areas in Pakistan, as I'm pretty sure in many other countries and in Bangladesh too, where if insurgency is going on, if militancy is going on, if violence is going on, the local reporters are under immense pressure to report from those areas. So, for instance, there are parts of Balochistan where it is difficult for the local reporter to report on militancy. Not only because there's a pressure from the military or the government, also from the militant groups over there. Why did you report this thing? Why didn't you report this thing? And both sides want only their version to be carried. So we evolved a method where we deploy somebody from Karachi office, go into that area, collect the information, come back, and then report about it. Rather than asking the local district correspondent or putting that person in the harm's way, we try to do this. In Karachi being a big city, the head office of Dawn, we are still relatively safe as compared to those district correspondents who cannot be provided protection. So we'll continue to do that. I mean, it's a very challenging thing. I mean, look at the tribal areas that border Afghanistan, or the tribal areas that border Iran and other places. To expect that a newspaper or a media house will be able to provide the same kind of protection to the district correspondent over there is asking for too much. So it's much better to ask that correspondent to report on other civic issues from that area, other matters in the way. When it comes to hard militancy related issues, we try to deploy somebody either from the provincial capital or from Karachi to do the reporting.
Thank you. Please give a big hand to Zaffar Abbas.
No need for that.
Thank you for giving us time. We are very grateful to you.
No,
And,
no need to be grateful. Thank you very
thank
much.
you
So
to
kind
you
of
all
you.
for coming.